So, but just to go back to the point about TikTok, I do think that does kind of benefit across the board. And I would just say this TikTok's going to be a political punching bag in the next 2 years.
Yep.
And I think Meta's going to be a beneficiary of it.
Gene, we want to thank you for helping us through this all this morning as we have watched tech stocks.
Let's turn these guys down while we're waiting for the stock market to open. We got about 30 minutes after one of the biggest drops in probably the last, decade or so. Yesterday was quite a bloodbath if you guys pay attention. Good morning, my name is Ryan. You are watching Stock Market Live Open. Two things before we get started. Let me kind of give you a recap why I do this show. First off, this is not investment advice. I'm a dummy. Don't trust me. Don't listen to me. Don't get your stock advice here. Consult with a professional. And if you want to consult with me, you need to call me directly. There you go. Those are the disclosures. I'm not held responsible for anything you do. Secondly, this show. Why am I doing this show? What's the purpose? Aside from me just sitting here in this quiet, empty room talking to a camera, I feel like there's a ton of very, very important news, economic news pieces that are not being reported at all, or at least not being covered in depth. And so in the 12 years of me doing investment management, I've watched that happen a lot. And so I decided, you know what? I love doing this live streaming stuff. I love interacting with you guys in the comments. I love creating this kind of stuff. I'm just going to create a financial show that talks about these economic issues. So today's topic, over 100 different food production factories have been shut down across the United States in the last 20 months. You guys probably have seen a few of these over the last 2 years. But I saw this article I'm going to show you here in just a minute. I was just stinking blown away when I saw this whole chart, this whole list. The other part, let me see here. Let me hit some buttons real quick just to make sure everything's going smoothly. The other article I'm going to show you that feeds right into it. It has to do with over in Europe. 40 CEOs of some of the world's largest, especially Europe's largest metal producers, manufacturing, natural resource producers, they all wrote a joint letter and signed a joint letter stating that, hey, this is about to get really, really bad. Don't forget, down in the comments, I don't know if it's down here or maybe it's over there, everyone on these, they always point, wherever the comments section is, feel free to comment. I'm monitoring comments, so we'll do some live chat. Okay, here's a fun meme here. 27-year-old in the 1950s. Honey, I was thinking perhaps we should increase our safety buffer to 15 times our annual salary instead of 10. Husband says, yes, we can't let chance decide our economic fate. And I think they also, whoever made this meme spelled fate incorrectly, but 27-year-olds today. Babe, the Fed just hiked rates 75 bips, which literally wiped out 40% of our net worth overnight. Luckily, we still own some Dracula coins. Yeah, it's definitely a different time right now for millennials today versus the same age group in the 50s. Okay, so you guys know enough to see the headlines. Things are kind of shaky right now. Also, before I get into this, let me be clear. I don't want to be a doom and gloom person. I'm trying to tell anybody who will listen, I try every day to poke holes in my theories. So if you guys see some interesting news articles, some data points, whatever it is, that proves me wrong, that proves that no, actually we are in a very strong economy and things are getting better, please send them to me. I would love to cover those. Those were so much fun to cover during the last administration when you would hear a news press release that, hey, Ford is bringing 20,000 jobs back to America, whatever. Hey, that was great stuff, but that's just not happening now. So let's start off right here. This was yesterday, President Joe Biden. Now this is what I cannot stress this enough. I cannot stress this enough. Listen to them when they tell you what they're going to do. Listen to him right here. Let's hear what he has to say.
To confront the climate crisis and increase our energy security ever in the whole world. And that's not hyperbole, that's a fact.
Oh, you guys, I'm sorry. I got to restart it because I started it like 5 seconds in. Let me start it one more time, okay?
I want to take the most aggressive action ever to confront the climate crisis and increase our energy security ever in the whole world. And that's not hyperbole, that's a fact.
He told you.
I want to take...
He told you right there. He said ever 4 times, the most So play it again. Listen to
The
him.
most aggressive action ever to confront the climate crisis and increase our energy security ever in the whole world.
Okay, climate crisis and what was it? Energy security. You guys, you know what that means. I know it and you know it. What that means is get rid of oil, get rid of gas, get rid of coal, get rid of anything that's yucky and doesn't make you feel good. Okay, cool. So we got rid of it. Now what? Now we have nothing to make all of the stuff we need, whether it's electricity or plastics or somewhere in between. So let's play this one more time just so we can, like I said, when they tell you what they're going to do, believe them. You know, for the last 20, 30 years, people have been called conspiracy tinfoil hat people because they just listen to what the Bilderberg Group, the World Economic Forum, the Trilateral, whoever, these global organizations, these global leaders, when they say, hey, we're going to get rid of all fossil fuels, all oil and gas and coal. And people kind of laugh, but they're doing it. They've done it. Let me play this one more time because it goes right into the next thing that we're going to talk about.
I want to take the most aggressive action ever to confront the climate crisis and increase our energy security ever in the whole world.
So confronting the climate crisis is one hand, energy secure on the other. Climate crisis means absolutely no oil and gas. Energy secure means unlimited and plentiful and independent energy, which we actually had in 2020. Thank you to the previous president. However, you can't have the climate crisis with energy from oil and gas. So we know what that means. We're going green. Okay, now, speaking of energy crisis, let me actually read it this direction. Here we go. All right, so this is from a couple of days ago. This is very important. All right, it goes right into all of this. 40 CEOs of European metal groups warn of an existential threat to the industry in an open letter. You guys, did you see this? Did you see your evening news reporting on this? This is going to be one of the biggest things you don't know anything about. Excuse me, if you haven't seen this. Now this letter, first off, let me show this to you. Alright, so I actually had to go do a lot of Googling, I'll be honest, because I had no idea what any of these groups were, what any of these companies were. But after looking at these and Googling a bunch of them, these actually are the proper largest manufacturers in Europe of metal, various minerals, zinc, copper, these types of base minerals, and natural resources, materials. If you want plastics, if you want glass, if you want all sorts of various composites, these are the manufacturing groups that make them. It's like when you're driving down the highway and you see those factories with the smokestacks and the pipes and the lights and all, and you're wondering, that's what these guys are. These guys aren't IKEA. These guys aren't Walmart. These guys are producing the very base things that go to IKEA or Walmart or whoever, whatever car company. All right, so this is all of them. You can see right here, they signed all agreeing to what I'm about to read you. Now, it's not long. It's about 2 pages. It'll take me about 5 or 6 minutes to read, but you have to listen to what they're saying. And also, keep in mind, 40 of Europe's largest material, basic natural resource CEOs signed on to this letter, okay? Now, the letter essentially is this. They wrote this letter to the leadership of Europe, the EU and other various presidents, the parliament and so on. And basically what they're saying is, hey, things are so bad right now, you'd better get your head out of your butt and figure out how to fix this right now, because it's bad right now. But you have no clue how bad it's about to get very soon if you don't get your head out of your butt and figure out this problem, this energy crisis, this food shortage that we're in right now. I have to read this to you, okay? Here we go. Ahead of Friday's emergency summit, the business leaders of Europe's non-ferrous metal industry are riding together to raise the alarm about Europe's worsening energy crisis. And one second, let me zoom this in. I apologize. I want you guys to be able to read along if you'd like to. I'm just trying to figure out how to get this stuff. Like, how do we get... There we go. And just one second, guys. I want to make sure that you can read along. That's about as good as... Let me see. That's about as good as I can get it. So... Ahead of Friday's emergency summit, the business leaders of Europe's non-ferrous metals industry are riding together to raise the alarm about Europe's worsening energy crisis and its existential threat to our future. Our sector has already been forced to make unprecedented curtailments in the last 12 months. We are deeply concerned that the winter ahead could deliver a decisive blow to many of our operations, and we call on EU and member state leaders to take emergency action to preserve their strategic electricity-intensive industries and prevent permanent job loss. 50% of the EU's aluminum and zinc capacity has already been forced offline due to the power crisis, as well as significant curtailments in silicon and ferroalloys production and further impacts felt across copper and nickel sectors. In the last months, several companies have had to announce indefinite closures and many more on the brink ahead of a life-or-death winter for many operations. Producers face electricity and gas costs over 10 times higher than last year, far exceeding the sales price of their products. So right there, they just said, right now we're already losing money on a lot of the stuff we're doing. Right now, as of we're writing this letter. We know from experience that once a plant is closed, it very often becomes a permanent situation, as reopening implies significant uncertainty and cost. Europe's clean energy goals require a competitive and growing metals sector to ensure a secure supply of the extra raw materials needed to shift away from fossil fuels. Base metals, battery metals, and other metals are all needed in high volumes for Europe's grid infrastructure, electric vehicles, solar panels, wind turbines, and hydrogen electrosers, as well as a complex web of other essential value chains across the European economy. We actively support your drive to improve Europe's strategic autonomy for its energy transition, and we want to make the long-term investments needed into advancing and expanding our operations ready for 2050. But all metal production needs affordable and available electricity and gas, whether aluminum and zinc today or lithium and cobalt tomorrow. We are deeply concerned that Europe faces a critical situation for the foreseeable future with a perfect storm of sky-high electricity prices, no energy market liquidity due to insecure gas supplies, and continued nuclear and coal phase-out, and the remaining power sources being insufficient to cover market needs. Europe cannot have a successful energy raw material strategy if its power and gas stay at today's level for a sustained period without relief. The long-term investment climate for all EU strategic metal operations and project risks being decimated, and more closures will follow next year once companies are not protected by their 2022 hedging of the electricity price. Any further EU production loss will also increase global greenhouse gas emissions due to replacement supply from more polluting regions. All right, we're almost done. We call on European and national leaders to look at all available options. Bob, actually, I'm going to pause right there just because here is what they say their solutions are. Their solutions are take temporary action to address the excessive price of fossil fuel generators, improve the temporary state aid framework, actively promote and incentivize the use of renewable power purchase agreements, minimize the impact of extra carbon costs from the emission trading system, provide further support to companies, implement schemes supporting short-term interrupt in demand response. If you read the specifics, they basically say, look, 1, let us use natural resources with no BS. 2, get the regulations out of the way. 3, we need some stimulus, we need some government funding to overfund and getting this back on track. And then 4, you help us with the cost of implementing green technology. So the ending paragraph says, more widely, it's important that EU Commission avoids extra regulatory costs on suffering industries in this critical period. Diversify source of gas supply and evaluate options for temporary solidarity measures to rebalance the windfall profits in other specific sectors during this crisis. So on and so on and so on. You guys, tell me that doesn't sound positive. Again, this is not just a bunch of think tanks or university professors. Right here, they've all signed it. These are the CEOs of 40 of Europe's largest metal producers, natural resource producers. They're saying them there: lithium, cobalt, copper, aluminum, zinc. These things are, the very base of what makes the world go round. And if they turn off, you better believe not only is there going to be a massive shortage of stuff that you might need, but all the existing stuff out there right now is going to become far, far, far more expensive. Let me check this here. Okay, good, good. So, as we read that, let me transition over to this part of the article that I mentioned to you. Now, I haven't seen anyone, except for this blog, report this. Here's the updated list of U.S.-based food manufacturing plants destroyed under Biden regime. You can now participate and add more incidents on the interactive map. So obviously this is a bit of a biased blog, definitely a conservative blog, but that doesn't matter. You've got to see this. This is, I hadn't seen anyone compile this data, and it absolutely blew me away. Before we do that, let's check in on CNBC.
Whoa.
Because with everyday purchases...
All right, they are on commercial right now. We will check the stock market open. We got about 15 minutes, just under 15. All right, so listen to this, you guys. Listen to this. Remember how I say in the title over 100 food factory plants in the U.S.? Yeah, plus another 700 worldwide. Just listen to this. Joe Biden's Build Back Better is not working as planned, or is it? Gas prices are at record highs, the economy is in recession, parents are having difficulty finding baby formula, and the cost of everything is way up. According to the USDA, there are currently no nationwide food shortages in the country. Quote, there are currently no nationwide shortages of food, although in some cases the inventory of certain foods at your grocery store might be temporarily low before stores can restock, the agency said on their website. Food production and manufacturing are widely dispersed throughout the U.S., and there are currently no widespread disruptions reported in the supply chain. A Gateway pundit reader sent us an updated list of U.S.-based food manufacturing plants that were damaged from 2021 to 2022 under the Biden administration. These were first published at Think Americana. Below is the list of establishments that have been destroyed, damaged, or impacted by, quote, accidental fires, disease, or general causes. Now let's be clear. This blog might be extremely biased. They might have their own, narrative or whatever. What I'm about to read here is not opinion. It is fact. This is documented. I encourage you all to type in and go to this blog and read this, because every single one of these 103 I'm about to show you, they're all categorized, documented, and tracked. All of them.
Well, there's no information about the
Look at this. They're all here. I'm showing you the sources right now for those of you who aren't watching. Okay. Let me close that. So everything starts January 21, a fire that destroyed a 75,000 square foot processing plant in Fayetteville. And I'm not going to read every one of them because there's over 100. But I just remember back last year, it became kind of a meme that 20 or 30 of these food factory plants kept being destroyed, and the meme was, oh, this is so common. Look, every year, 20% of the food supply in America burns down. It's not a big deal. Stop being conspiratorial. But, here we go. I'm just going to start scrolling. Here's a, let's see. Tyson River Valley Ingredients plant burned down. Patek Meat Production Company burned down. JBS Beef Plant burned down. Made Right Steak Company processing plant burned down. Poultry processing plant burned down. Firefighters respond to a call at Cargill plant in Louisiana. I'm trying to read these, it's going so quickly. Lincoln Premium Poultry in Fremont. People injured after pneumonia leak. An explosion at Sharier's food plant in Hermiston fire. Shadowbrook Farm and Dutch Creamery fire. Here, this all happened 24 through 28. Crikey, look how many freaking chickens destroyed. I remember this came up. Okay, that's 300,000, 650,000, so that's 950. There's another 50, so that's a million, million two. 660,000, so that's 1.8 million. That's about 2.7 million chickens destroyed in about a week in 5 different locations, which is bizarre. Oh, there's another 2.7 million, so it actually comes to closer to 5 million chickens killed in 1 week. Let's see. Fire at Walmart warehouse food distribution center. Nestle food plant fire. Oh God, there's another 10 million chickens destroyed the next week. And another 5. If I remember right, honestly, there was like a bird flu or something. Anyway, We're only not halfway. We're in the 40s still. We're looking at about, I don't know, 10 million chickens euthanized in less than a month. Fire destroys East Conway beef and pork meat markets. Gem State Processing in Idaho catches fire for potatoes. Food processing plant burns down in California. Azure Standard distributor burned down. General Mills plant. Well, gosh, a small plane crashed. Okay. God, that one right there. In another 1 week, turkeys and chicken. There's 400,000. It's 2 million, 2.7 million. There's just about another 5 million right there in 1 week killed. Oh God, a fire in Iowa chicken factory kills 5.5 million chickens. These are all egg-laying chickens. That was this past April. Another 2 million chickens died in Allen Harem Foods Processing Plant. 5 million honeybees dead after something, I don't know. These are a lot of turkeys, chickens. Wow, this has been the year of a genocide for chickens in America. Oh my God, this has got to be above. I mean, has to be above 10 to 15 million chickens in the last. God, here, May 31st, 3 million chickens destroyed in a fire. This has to be closer to like 15 million chickens. No kidding, you guys. I'm not even exaggerating. Back in June, JBS meatpacking plant, fire. Purina feed mill, fire. Pork processing, fire. Fire breaks out in another food processing. 10,000 head of cattle died in Kansas. You guys probably remember that. Fire destroyed a flour mill. Yeah, so, and this is just up until August 30th, okay? So that's still another 2 weeks, and I guess as frequently as these seem to be happening, there's probably been at least another one. Okay, so this isn't it. You would be like, wow, that's a lot, right? Oh my gosh. It's not done yet. Okay, listen to this part. Excuse me, I've got the hiccups right now. Another reader of Gateway Pundit who wanted to stay anonymous has been doing extensive research regarding what is going on with the food supply. I have created an interactive map that will let you click on an icon and will provide all the details of what happened at that location, including a link to the article. Below is an excerpt. Before I read that, I'm just going to show this map that they created. Here's the map. Here's how I zoom. Look at how many of these are happening. Can I make this full screen? Is that what this does? No. Well, I wish I could make this full screen, but I suppose I can't. But we can zoom in here. So here's just the one of, here's America. This is just what we were looking at for the ones in America. That's it. So just have a little look there. Have a little look-see. Yep, you can see pretty much everything that we've been describing. Now let's go over to Europe. Europe isn't nearly as bad. Let's see what happened, I don't know, let's see what this one is. Local grocery store explosion. Let's see here's one in Germany. Destroyed euthanized chickens, over 1 million. Here's this one. Food storage burned in Austria. Here's something in Greece. Destroyed euthanized 50 tons of fish. My God. France destroyed 100,000 fish again at a fishery. Another 12 million chickens in France. Unbelievable. Unbelievable how much. Again, did you guys know that if you go back up here to what was written, he describes how there are here. Below is the list of about 750 entries of food, meat, grocery, animals, farms, auto, meds, building, chemical, fuel, water, energy destroyed and damaged around the world. And here's the entire list if you just want to really get down into it. But wow, I was blown away, absolutely blown away at this little passion project of some individual that created this thing. It looks primarily like the chaos is here in America, obviously. Let's just see, let's zoom in just for the fun of it. What do we know around Kansas City? All right, so here's something in Kansas City. Evergy plant, electrical explosion up by St. Joe, grain silo fire over here near Columbia, train derailment, grains. This is in Columbia food pantry, vandalized. All right, we're gonna not count that one. Another grain silo fire collapse. Anyway, wow. Tell me, did you guys realize that was going on? Again, where are they reporting this? But you notice, now, okay, we won't get down the tube of there's a small group of ex-military black budget mercenaries going around the country lighting all of these on fire. That's not the point of showing this. The point is this right here. The point is that your food is going to continue getting more expensive as all of these various poultry, fish, whatever, flour, wheat continue to get destroyed or delayed or burned down or euthanized. Here Michael Burry had tweeted just the other day, why inflation is the worst kind of regressive tax. The cost of food at home has never risen this fast before. Now if you look here at the bottom, this starts back in the 50s. And I'll see if I can zoom in on this for you guys. Yeah, there we go. How about that? All right, so you see right here on the right, this is the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, 90s, 2000s. This is the George Bush. This is Obama. This is Obama. Right here is Trump. And really, Obama and Trump are pretty sideways, honestly. And boom, right here. Right, literally, July, what is it, 6th or 12th, whatever it was, Joe Biden sworn in. Boom, spikes up. And he's right. If you look back at the last 70 years of food prices, you've never seen, even this little spot right here on the 08-09 financial crisis, you've never seen food increase this fast. You know, while it's going to be tough here in America, and you should expect to see food prices, if you just kind of expand your thinking and you zoom out globally, we're going to see global famine if this doesn't get fixed quickly. And, you know, think about countries like Egypt. You know, I heard a shocking stat where it's something like 85% of all of the grains in Egypt are provided via Ukraine. Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but Ukraine is pretty caught up right now in, you know, a military conflict. Egypt might not be getting all the wheat and such that they want or usually need. So think of these second and third world nations. You're going to see massive food riots, more than we already have. And again, this all ties into what we saw yesterday, the whole reason for the entire stock market sell-off yesterday. Let me zoom in on the date here. Inflation, as you can see right down here, it is coming in hot still. Now you might say to yourself, or say to me, Ryan, inflation's coming down. Look, June, July, August, it's going down. Yeah, sure, technically you're correct. However, you need to remember two things. One, all of the experts out there were saying the worst is behind us. We're going to, you know, we're going way down. Prices are dropping like crazy. It's a time to celebrate. But inflation basically didn't move, and that is a huge black eye for, excuse me, the experts. The second part is that this inflation data, if you don't know how it works like this. Somebody basically walks through a grocery store once a month and tracks the prices of the most common stuff, hamburger patties, a box of Cheerios, a gallon of milk. Then they drive by the gas station and they write down the price for a gallon of gas. Then they'll, you know, look through the classifieds and look to see what average rent is, all of these things. It's the basket of what it would cost you, the average American, to live. How much does it cost? And that's what we're seeing here. It used to be very affordable. You can, in fact, you can see here 2016 through 2020. All right, these were the Trump years here. Quite affordable. You can even see here in 2016, 2015, the last year of Obama's year. Heck, give him credit, I guess. There was less inflation then. Here's where it's bad. The Biden years, again, you guys, drop it with the Democrat-Republican stuff. Drop it. The fact of the matter is that the current people running the White House, running Washington, D.C., are destroying our lives. It doesn't matter how you vote. We're all equally suffering here. This inflation, this terrible economy, it's affecting all of us equally. So drop it with the Democrat-Republican thing. Okay, so we can see these numbers here. This is under the Joe Biden and his team. It's getting terrible. So anyway, before I keep going, we should have the stock market opening in. All right.
And it's
60
not what I want to
seconds.
see from Nucor. It is what I want to see from Powell.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to start
We'll send these
somewhere.
guys for about 30
Yes.
seconds, and we'll see how
And
the market
Nucor
opens
is
today. Looks like
Nucor's
we're
the
going to
best of
slightly
best.
recover from that massive
I've
sell-off
always felt that you
yesterday.
can't own a steel company going into recession.
Let's just see here. Let's just see.
And so far, until today, that made sense because Nucor was not down. Now, Nucor's buying back a ton of stock. But I just was surprised. This was a surprise.
I do want to talk to you about buybacks because there's a few of them today. But first, let's get the opening bell here and the CNBC Real-Time Exchange. And the big board, it is American Assets Trust, a REIT, celebrating its 12th listing
You know what we gotta
anniversary.
do?
And at the NASDAQ, the cast of the
Stock
upcoming
market's open. We
Broadway
got to play
show,
that sound
Death
effect,
of
you
the
know?
Salesman.
Oh, my.
Wendell
How you
Pierce.
doing?
Wendell Pierce in the cast. That's a play we like to quote.
There is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
Here we go, reflex. So hot in here.
These guys over here.
Oh.
Nice, perfect timing. That was
New
great.
York City overall, as we're going to get a ton of new productions here in the next season, which is what Broadway needs.
Right. And everyone's talking about how great it could be that
Okay, so-
Netflix is going to have this ad-supported view. I happen to be a Hulu person, and I can't believe I have to watch these stupid commercials. So I think the enthusiasm is very misplaced for Netflix and the ad business.
Right.
Who wants ads?
We'll get to that in a second. Here's
All
the
right.
open, up 50 here. Is this the kind of stabilization you want to see?
No, not at all. The stabilization
doing
I want to see
up
is the
today.
2-year, which is the worst stock in the world in terms of, if you want to call it that. The 2-year's still doing the wrong
bad.
thing. I mean, look, who does not want 3.8?
Apple up.
I mean, the only way to get 3.8 is to own a REIT.
Tesla up.
But I like to think that I get my money back plus 3.8. These treasuries are, if Powell does 100,
Money's up.
I think that people might be saying, you know what? They're really tough on inflation because they sent the price of stocks down. That's the problem.
Okay.
That's not your call.
Might not
though.
be a bad day.
100.
No, it's not my call because I think that he doesn't like surprises. Remember,
All right, guys.
he's a very calm man. He surprised
Well, hey, that's
people
about
in
it for right now.
2018. He
I'm
learned
going to
his
wrap
lesson.
this up.
Yeah.
This
There
was a perfect timing. I hope you guys found some of this insightful and helpful. Please email me comments on this stuff. Keep in touch with me. Let me know if you love this stuff or hate it. Send me any type of insider information you got. I love what kind of articles or whatever stocks are interested in you.